Welcome everybody to this video on how to evaluate polynomial functions. Here we are given a function f of x equals 3x cubed plus 8x squared plus 7x plus 1, and we are asked to evaluate at f of negative 2. You'll see instead of writing the notation of f of x, it's now written as f of negative 2, meaning now instead of x being our input is now negative 2. So all we have to do is replace our x values in our function with negative 2, and then we will simplify. Sometimes you might also see it like this. You'll say it'll ask you to evaluate at x equals negative 2. This is the same thing. You're just taking that value of negative 2, plugging it into your function for the variable, and then solving. So I am going to rewrite this with negative 2 as now our input. So we have negative f of negative 2 equals 3 times negative 2 cubed plus 8 times negative 2 squared plus 7 times negative 2 plus 1. And from here, the way we simplify this or evaluate this is we follow the order of operations, which many of you are familiar with is PEMDAS. We're going to start with parentheses, then move to exponents, and this is multiplication and division done in the same step from left to right, and then finally we add and subtract in the same step from left to right. So as we go through this, there are no parentheses. I did put parentheses in here to keep myself organized, but there's really no operations to do within the parentheses, so we move on to exponents. So if we evaluate these exponents, 3 stays here. We have negative 2 to the third power, and remember that means negative 2 times negative 2 times negative 2. Be very careful with your signs here. Negative 2 times negative 2 gives you a positive 4, but times negative 2 again gives you a negative 8. Okay, and then we're going to add to it 8 times negative 2 squared. Again, that is a positive 4 since it's negative 2 times negative 2. And then we're going to add to that 7. Actually, this will be done if we move into our next step, which is 7 times negative 2 plus 1. Our next step will be multiplication and division from left to right. So as we evaluate from left to right, 3 times negative 8 is negative 24 plus 8 times 4, which is 32. And then plus, we're going to multiply 7 times negative 2, which is negative 14. And I'm going to keep the parentheses in here just to keep us organized, to remember that that is a negative value, and then plus 1. And then our final step here as we evaluate to find what f of negative 2 is we are going to add and subtract from left to right. So as we add and subtract from left to right, negative 24 plus 32 gives us a positive 8 minus 14, or really plus a negative 14, which is the same as subtracting. We have positive 8 minus 14 gives us a negative 6, and then we have to add 1 at the end, so plus 1 gives us an answer of negative 5. So this polynomial at f of negative 2 equals negative 5.